The lights of the arena glowed like a burning halo as thousands of voices echoed through the rafters, carrying with them the weight of two nations, Mexico and the Philippines, each expecting fireworks, each demanding glory. As the cameras swept across the audience, the atmosphere vibrated with the unmistakable tension of a world title night. This was no ordinary fight. This was the night a young champion would defend his crown against a seasoned warrior determined to seize it. Stepping onto the stage first was Luis Maldonado, Mexico's gritty challenger, a man who had already touched the fringes of greatness once before and returned tonight for his second attempt at a world title. Ranked fourth by the IBF, he entered the ring not as a man overwhelmed, but as a fighter hardened by the unforgiving roads of boxing. His eyes were steady, his jaw tight, his steps deliberate. He carried the scars of battles past and the hunger for redemption. Then the music shifted. A wave of cheers broke from the Filipino crowd as Nonito, the Filipino Flash Donaire, the reigning IBF flyweight champion, emerged from the tunnel. Draped in bright colors, bathed in the light of a king, Donaire walked with the cool certainty of a man born for these moments. His first title defense, an opportunity to prove his destruction of Vic Darchinyan, was no accident, no fluke, but the beginning of a dynasty. As he climbed through the ropes, he surveyed the ring like an artist studying a blank canvas. The announcer's voice boomed. The fighters stood face to face, and instructions were read. The referee commanded a clean fight. The crowd held their breath. Gloves touched, and just like that, the air was sliced in half by the bell, ushering in a clash of styles, pride, and destiny. From the opening seconds, Donaire revealed the dangerous truth of his reputation. His speed wasn't quick, it was supernatural. His jab snapped out like a camera flash, illuminating Maldonado's reactions, testing his rhythm, probing his defenses. The challenger marched forward with classic Mexican grit, but every step brought him into a storm of counters. Crisp left hooks, slicing right hands, and sudden directional changes that left him swinging at air. Donaire's footwork was poetry, controlled, light, and effortlessly in command. But Maldonado was unshaken. He took punches, adjusted, and kept pressing, his determination thicker than the sweat forming on his brow. Then came the first major crack in the armor. A sharp, surgical Donaire hook ripped across Maldonado's face, instantly opening a cut near the eye. Blood trickled, then streamed, painting Maldonado's cheek like a crimson badge of defiance. And though Maldonado's courage was unshakable, his face told the story of a man fighting uphill against one of the sharpest punchers in the sport. The ring grew slick with sweat and blood, and as the bell closed another round, one truth grew clearer. Maldonado was hurt, cut, and outgunned, but far from finished. This was a fight he refused to surrender easily. By the middle rounds, something extraordinary unfolded. Maldonado, drenched in blood, battered from angle after angle, mounted a gritty, astonishing comeback. Rather than backing down, he surged forward with a renewed intensity, as if the worsening cuts fueled his desperation. Every step he took dripped defiance. He found moments of success, slipping inside Donaire's long shots and landing fast, sneaky left hands that shocked the crowd. He jabbed with purpose, snapped Donaire's head back with unexpected counters, and forced the champion to retreat for the first time. Maldonado's face was a mask of crimson, but his heart pumped electricity into the fight. Suddenly, it wasn't just a title defense, it was a battle for survival. Donaire responded with the composure of a master craftsman. Even as Maldonado charged, Donaire's eyes remained cold and calculating. He went to the body, cracked hooks into the ribs, and threaded uppercuts straight through Maldonado's guard. But the Mexican challenger refused to fall apart. He threw in combinations, doubled his jab, and hurled looping rights that landed cleanly enough to draw gasps from the commentators. The war intensified. Every collision between their gloves echoed like thunder. Ringside physicians grew nervous, as Maldonado's cuts widened, blood gushing with every exchange, but still, the referee allowed him to continue. It became a test of will versus skill. Maldonado's heart was the engine driving him. Donaire's precision was the scalpel slicing him apart. The arena felt the shift, the fear that the challenger might turn the tide, the hope that the champion might restore control. Donaire started landing clearer, sharper shots again. A sweeping left hook cracked across Maldonado's jaw, and the man staggered yet stayed upright, refusing to bow. The crowd roared at every exchange, drunk on the chaos. By the end of the sixth, Maldonado had surprised everyone. He was still standing, still swinging, still alive in a fight that should have broken him already. His comeback wasn't just physical, it was spiritual. Round 7 became the beginning of the end. Donaire entered with a deadly calm, the kind fighters carry when they sense weakness and smell opportunity. He trapped Maldonado along the ropes, dissecting him with lightning-quick combinations. Left hooks to the head, right crosses through the center, uppercuts that lifted the Mexican challenger's chin into the lights. Maldonado fought back bravely, winging desperate punches, but the tide had turned too fiercely. Donaire's timing sharpened like a blade. He landed a monstrous right hand that rattled Maldonado to his core. The blood pouring from the challenger's wounds began to flow in sheets now, streaking down his neck, soaking his trunks, dripping to the canvas. Then came the shot that shifted the universe of the fight. A perfectly placed left hook detonated against Maldonado's jaw. His body twisted, his legs betrayed him, and he dropped to the canvas for just the second time in his entire career. The arena erupted. The referee moved in quickly, counting with urgency. But Maldonado, fueled by a warrior's pride and battered courage, sprang up as if refusing to let gravity defeat him. Saved only by the bell, he stumbled to his corner, his face a collage of cuts, swelling, and exhaustion. Ringside physicians swarmed him, shining lights into his eyes, checking the damage, questioning whether he should continue. But Maldonado insisted. He wanted more. One more round. One more chance. As the bell for round 8 rang, Donaire rushed forward with the instincts of a hunter closing in on wounded prey. A ripping right hand staggered Maldonado, followed by a crushing left to the body that folded him. Donaire unleashed a relentless barrage, punches raining from every angle, merciless and precise. Maldonado's defenses collapsed. He absorbed brutal shots until the referee had no choice but to step in, ending the pounding as Maldonado sagged helplessly. The fight had reached its breaking point. At 1 minute and 16 seconds of round 8, the referee's intervention sealed the inevitable. The war was over. Maldonado, brave beyond measure, had finally absorbed more than any fighter should be asked to bear. As the referee waved the fight off, Donaire stepped away with the composure of a champion who knew he had just delivered something special, something devastating yet honorable. The crowd roared, celebrating not just the victory, but the artistry they had witnessed. Donaire stood in the center of the ring, gloves raised high, chest rising and falling, his face touched by the sheen of battle. He had proven once again that he was not just a champion, but a phenomenon. His speed, his precision, his instincts, they were all on full display tonight. Meanwhile, Maldonado sat on his stool, his team tending to cuts that seemed to multiply by the second. Though defeated, he wore the expression of a man who left everything in the ring, his courage undeniable, his grit unforgettable. The fans applauded him too, recognizing the bravery required to stand toe-to-toe with a fighter as explosive as Donaire. As the announcer stepped forward with the official verdict, the arena fell silent. Ladies and gentlemen, by way of technical knockout, still the IBF and IBO flyweight champion of the world, the Filipino Flash, Nonito Donaire. The eruption of applause felt like a wave breaking over the arena. Donaire's team embraced him, lifting him momentarily into the air. This victory wasn't merely a title defense, it was a statement. a reinforcement of his power, his mastery, and the destiny that awaited him in higher weight classes. The camera zoomed in one last time on Maldonado, battered but unbroken, and then on Donaire, his expression calm, proud, and quietly hungry for the future. The night belonged to the Filipino Flash, a champion who dazzled, destroyed, and defended his kingdom with brilliance worthy of boxing history.